Hi, friends.
Hi, friends.
We're back
We are indeed.
with episode 28 of the Brunch and Judge.
Yes. 28. Almost
Oh,
30.
right? At this point, you're like, I'm still in my 20s. It's okay.
Right. Even though I feel
Whatever.
like my 20s were a dumpster fire.
Same. I am fine. I have enjoyed 30s.
It's
30s
30s.
are nice.
Yeah. I was going to say,
Mhm.
everybody's like, oh, when you're young. And I'm just like, no, 20s were kind of trashy.
Yeah, I'm like, I like my 30s. I'm hoping
Yeah.
40s are even better. I'm like,
Right.
bring it
Same.
on. I'm
Like,
still, I
let's
still
do
feel young
this.
because I don't have children, so 40 sounds
Right.
fine.
Right. Yeah. It's not like, oh, I'm 40 and have like preteens
Right. Well,
that I have to take
because
care
I was
of.
thinking about it. So, because Amy and I are 10 years apart, so I always use her life as like scale to figure out where I am.
Right.
Bless her for being born first. But so when my sister turned 40, Caleb would have been like 11. Like she
Yeah.
had like going into middle school age kids and
Mm-hmm.
all sorts of activities and working, she was advancing in her career and all this stuff was happening and it was busy all the time and go. And I'm going,
Right.
hi.
Like, here I am, just living my life.
That's right. It's like kids scream in the park across the street and I'm like,
I know you're like, I don't want to do this. No.
mm-mm.
But yeah, 28. Woo, party.
Look at us go.
That's right.
28. Well, Claire,
Yes.
what are you judging this week?
Well, I'm going to judge one of my jobs without naming it because
Good plan.
it's my part-time job. It's like a big chain, you know, corporation kind of thing. And I got a job there. It will be 6 years ago in October.
Wow.
Yeah. And because I knew my car was going to die and I knew I was probably going to get a new one and car payments. Yeah. And have
They're
a little bit of like,
fun.
yeah, a little bit of supplemental income. So that did happen. I now have a car that I'm making payments on. So whatever. But earlier this year, they gave us a raise, like company wide raise. It was a percentage. It wasn't like, oh, a
Mm-hmm.
percentage of whatever you were making. Fine. I've been there 5 years, 5.5 years. I'm like, finally getting a raise. Heck
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And then like 2.5 months later, they come in and they slice all the store's hours, like company wide, except for like the biggest stores. So there's like two stores in our district whose hours didn't get cut. I mean, we're talking cutting 3 hours out of the entire workday.
Mm-hmm.
Two of those hours are shifts that I would work in the evening after my first job, my full time job. So basically, I go there now for 2 hours
Yeah.
during the week, and then weekend days are the same. Didn't they just slice the hours during the week? So basically, the hours that I get were cut in half. And it's
Yeah.
like, you are fooling
No
nobody,
one. Mm-hmm.
sir. You give everybody raises and then you cut their hours.
It's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, we're good. We're giving you
Uh
raises,
huh.
but oh hey.
Right.
Hey.
And I mean, we're talking, I had
Mm-hmm.
been there 5 years. I don't know the last time they gave raises before I got there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been at least 5.5 years before they had given raises, possibly longer.
Which is
You know,
trash.
it is trash.
I
And it's
mean,
like you look at the crap that we have to put up with some of these people, and it's just like, is it worth it? Maybe
I was
not.
gonna say because like everywhere, even in some of my crummiest jobs,
Right.
we at least got like living wage increase every year, which is not remotely
Right.
close to the actual
So
living
what
wage
it
increase.
actually
But
should
like
be, right.
there's always like a 1 or 2% increase, which is, pennies, but that matters. I'll take the
In that,
pennies.
yeah, I
Give
mean
me
it
the
adds
damn
up.
pennies.
Yeah, I know, it adds up. But it's just like, like and I get it. My full-time job, small company, there's only 7 of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 7 of us that work there, you know, privately owned. It's not a big corporation. We get raises every single year, you know. If if
Which
if
honestly
if
is
it allows. I think
not,
there's maybe been 1 year I have
yeah.
okay, I've been at that job for 16 years. Um, 1 year we did not get raises, and that was, like, back in, like, 2011 when it
Oh,
was
during the
crappy.
crisis. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, it was
The
that
big
year, it was
recession of
bad. Yeah,
2009
or
that
whatever
just
that
tanked
was. Yeah,
everything. Mm-hmm.
it was just, like that was, like, the 1 year we did not get raises, but, I mean, he was like, "I literally can't. It's" you know,
Right.
life was bad. You know? So, but it's just like these big corporations, it's just like, you people are
Yeah.
crappy.
It's
You're greedy, and you're shitty to
I
your employees.
I was reading something about how,
Because it's not
um
just the company I work for,
like,
it's all over.
no. Well, and I was reading something about how, you know about how, even though there are record profit making and record bonuses for
Mhm.
CEOs and super high
Right.
management, you know, the wages of their workers have been stagnant for years. And I'm like,
Right.
I'm firmly in the eat the rich party because I'm done with it. I'm like, fuck
Right.
you.
Mhm.
It's like I don't have a problem with people being rich. I have a problem with people getting more rich without spreading it down to the employees that are making them rich. Like, I
Right.
get it. Obviously, you're not going to just like give out all of your money. I'm not
Oh,
stupid.
no.
But
Yeah.
you shouldn't
Right.
you shouldn't have, like, there shouldn't be like 8 people who have half of the world's wealth. Like, it shouldn't be
Right.
that. it
Mhm.
that's all. I'm like,
Yes.
I'm fine. You can have your cool mega yacht if you want the cool mega yacht, but like, you can't have 5 mega yachts. You can have the one, and the
Right.
rest
What
of the
like,
money you give to
who
your
needs
people so they
5?
don't die.
I mean, it's just
Nobody.
and sometimes
You don't
it's just
really
like,
need
this is
one, but whatever.
obscene.
Yeah.
This is obscene how much money
Hmm.
you have. You know, it's
And I probably because I've never had money. I've always been not
right.
wealthy.
Right. Same.
But
Same.
like, I think about what I would spend my money on, and I can't, like, if I had, we as the library, we played the Mega Millions when it was huge. We didn't win, shocker.
Right, right.
But
Yeah.
like, I was like, what would I spend $500 million on? And I was like, nothing. I would, you know, buy the house and maybe buy the vacation house, and probably take a world tour of all the places I've always wanted to go. But like,
Right.
ultimately, the like 80% of that money would have to go to literally anyone else somewhere else, because what
Yeah.
the fuck am I going to do with it?
Well, and not it's funny you mentioned that because I saw a meme that it was like a headline where it said, because whoever won it,
Mm-hmm.
they paid over half of it in taxes.
Right.
And they got to and it was like paid X amount in taxes, and then the little comment below it was like, the only millionaire in the world who has to pay taxes.
Right.
And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, that
Not
is
wrong.
some
Mm-hmm.
hard truth right there. I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
hmm, somebody is speaking the truth on that one. Because it was like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, you just paid almost, half of your half a billion to taxes. And it's like no other, you don't see the rest of those, you know, Elon Musk and Bezos and
No, they don't pay
Gates
taxes.
and all them paying like those kind of taxes. And it's like, yeah, yeah. I just like why should you be penalized because you're lucky on that?
It's
That's where
true.
I'm at.
I'd be like, I'm gonna invest it in my business, so you can't make me pay taxes on it, right?
Right?
Whatever.
I know, right?
Whatever. Oh,
Anyway,
fuck, hate,
so
hate.
that's like my
Yeah.
negative judge on people.
Mm-hmm.
However, I've got a good judge because this past week I went to the Beyond Van Gogh exhibit
Mm-hmm.
in Louisville at the Kentucky International Convention Center. Oh my gosh. If you all are anywhere where you get to go see one of these immersive Van Gogh things, do it. You don't even have to like, I mean, he's like my favorite, my most absolute favorite. And as far as painters, and I cried It was when you got to the room where the stuff was changing and moving, and it's like you're in the painting. I mean, it was in the music. They had music going. Of course, they played. There was like one of it where it was like they played Starry Night, like
Well,
an
of course.
instrumental version. I love that song, Don McLean. Go look it up. Um, and then like they had one where it was like with his fields and the sunflowers and stuff, and they were playing "Here Comes the Sun," like an instrumental version of that with the. I was like, I got verklempt. I was having a moment. I was having a spiritual moment there. I was just like, I can't believe this is so. I mean, and just the technology to be able to pull that off, and I mean, gosh, it was like I said, I can't even describe it. It was amazing. If it's in your city or anywhere near that, you go do it. Whether you like it, like, are a big art person or not, you should go do it because it's
Mhm.
just so cool. Yeah, I loved it. That's my good judge. Whoever had
Yeah,
that idea to do that, kudos to you because that was fantastic.
good.
Absolutely fantastic, worth the money.
Good. And
I wanna do it again. I don't care. I just
I'm so
wanna
glad
do it
that you got to
again.
go. I know you've been trying to go for years because it's been out for a
It's been
couple of
around,
years.
yeah,
Yeah.
traveling, and then it was in Louisville, and I'm just like, "It's literally, like, almost in my backyard. I've got to
It's
go
like
to
I
this."
have to go. It's as close as it's ever gonna be.
I know, right? Because it's like there are in other cities where I could, like, gone and stayed with friends, but it just
Hmm.
never worked out like that, but I'm like, "It is in Louisville. I need to do this now." So, yeah, I was just like, "Yes." I was in heaven. I cried. I
No.
smiled. I took all the photos. I even took videos of some of the stuff. It was so cool. But yeah, I highly, highly recommend. 10 out of 10. Do it.
10 of 10 would do again.
Yes, a million times. So yeah, those are my judges this week. So that's
Excellent.
so what are you judging?
Well, let's see. This week I am judging people who steal credit card numbers.
Oh boy.
Hmm.
Did yours get stolen?
No, mine
Okay,
did not
good.
get stolen.
Okay.
I try really hard. I'm not great, and
Right.
I know eventually it's gonna happen because odds and life and time. But
Yeah. Yeah.
um, I have it set up so anytime any amount of money over $1 is spent, I get a text so that I know
Huh.
that it has happened. Um, no big deal. It's fine. But at work, we have a work credit card that we use to
Oh
buy
no.
everything really other than stuff from Amazon. We have a separate account for that.
Yeah.
But um somehow, and this is literally the third time that this has happened since I've worked there. Claire, I've not been there
What?
2 years yet. That
The third
the
time?
third time that the credit card number has been stolen and has been used. So at some point in early July, actually it was like July 4th weekend when we were all closed. So in theory, no one would
Been there?
have the credit card
Right.
or would have access to it. I mean, obviously you can write down the number. I don't know. But they somehow
Right.
managed to buy stuff from Lowe's in Texas and in Virginia. So
Wow.
I was like, all right. So we had to cancel it, which whatever. But then we had
Mhm.
to wait a whole fucking week to get a replacement. Guess
It's
when
like
this
you can't.
happened? This happened as soon, like at the very tail end of summer reading. So
Oh no.
like most of the stuff, like most of the prizes are already bought or already there, but there are like finisher prices. So everyone
Mhm.
gets pizza. And so I had to wait until it was finished to figure out how many finishers I had in order to go buy the
The
pizza
pizza,
things.
yeah.
And I couldn't because we didn't have a credit card.
Oh my gosh.
We had a couple of gift cards that hadn't been purchased like I thought they had.
Oh no.
So that, and then we had one of the prizes was a subscription to Marvel Unlimited, and we couldn't do that until we got the credit card
Oh
because
my gosh.
we couldn't buy the prize until we knew who won in order to have the email address, the whole thing. Just
Right.
normal. But like even little things, like we had a program this week and we needed refreshments. And
Yeah.
just like the worst possible timing. And I it's been very stressful because people want their stuff, and I don't blame them. They were excited,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Is
I'm
there, like, a
sorry.
policy with, like, using maybe not your own, but, like, another person's and
We
then
could
reimbursing or
It's a process,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm not putting $1,200 of pizza on my credit card. Sorry.
No, 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 no. I'm not saying that you
So,
should, but I didn't know if there was some
um,
kind of way
yeah, I mean,
to, like,
we
use
can.
something
The
else
city
and
can we can submit the receipts, and the city will give us a check. It just takes time,
Mhm.
and
And it's
ultimately, I
annoying.
was just like, "Fuck them, they can wait."
Right, you're just like, "Look, guys, this happens. We have to wait until we have the
Mhm.
credit cards we can pay."
But, for the vast majority, I mean, I'm super glad summer reading's over. This week has been kind of a madhouse because I'm trying to get like all the finishers, get a prize, all the finishers under 18 get an additional prize. There are gift bags for anyone
Yeah.
who did 3 book reviews. So we had to get names of those and get them to the correct people because there's like a kid one and a teen one and an adult one, and
Mhm.
just a lot of compiling information and sorting through it and getting it. I had to call like 42 people who won stuff to let them know they won stuff.
Oh my
It's just,
gosh.
yeah.
And then you're like,
So,
"And I can't even give it to them because I don't have the credit card to
right.
buy the
Well,
prizes."
I didn't call anyone that I didn't have their stuff or couldn't give them
Gotcha.
their stuff. And because we finally got the credit card Thursday night. So yesterday, they were buying stuff. But on top of all that, I've been bizarrely under the weather, not COVID, but like stomach
Ooh,
gross.
that's
Like my
yeah.
head hurts, my stomach hurts, like I get woozy. I called out of work Thursday, woke up yesterday and thought I was not great, but okay, and went to work. And by like 11 o'clock, I was like, I'm not gonna make it.
You're
I need
like,
to go home.
"And I'm done for the day." So,
Um, I stayed until 1 trying to finish up some stuff and get everything to go, and then I came home and died. And here I am.
yes.
Look at me. I put lipstick on so I look less dead.
You're like, "So I don't look totally
But
dead."
I feel really awful.
Yes. You're like, "Oh god."
That's fine. I'll be fine.
It's fine.
But so my judge are the people who steal credit card information
Yes.
because, like, you know, yes, there should be some. What frustrates me is if this happened back in the beginning of July and they're
Yeah.
just now figuring it out, and I'm like,
And
I'm
that's
sorry,
obnoxious.
what
Yeah.
the hell? Why do you not? I we submit credit card receipts for everything. No one's looking at it. No one's questioning that someone spent,
This
like
amount of money
12, thirteen
with
hundred
no
dollars
receipt.
at Lowe's in not
Texas.
Oregon.
Yeah.
It's like
Right.
not in the state of Oregon. What? Because I mean, like I
I
said,
mean, you're talking
I get
halfway across the country.
I
You're
get a
like,
text
"Wait."
message every single time. In fact, I get a text message when I get refunded money because I like
Uh-huh.
when I got the oil change thing or whatever, and they give me 20% off, but they forgot to the first time, so I had to put it back on. I was like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like I got a text like, you've got refund. I'm like, cool, thank you. So
I
I
mean,
don't
yeah. I
know.
feel like there's a special place in hell for those people.
It's just
Yeah.
ugh,
Mhm.
stupid. It's stupid, and I'm mad about it, but
Because
whatever.
I've had not recently, it's been several years, but I had one where it was like credit card got hacked or whatever, and they were making like back-to-back purchases at a Walgreens in California. And it was just like, "Yeah, no, that's not me.
That's not me.
Nope.
Mhm.
Nope, nope, nope.
Mhm.
Not at all."
Oh,
So, like and I feel like it's maybe less of a hassle for a person because it was like one credit. At least it wasn't my debit card. I feel like if it was my debit card, that would be devastating because that's what all my bills
right.
are attached to.
Yeah.
Credit cards are for like extraneous stuff, but that that would be
Well,
absolutely devastating.
um, well, just it's easier to contest a credit card charge and get that fixed and gone
Right.
than it is to deal
Right.
with it once it's out of your debit. But I do have a good judge this week too.
Yes, what is that?
It is this magnificent cup that I
Ah.
got in the mail. What? Look at that magical thing. What?
It's there's a place here where I live. It's just two chicks who work out of one of their houses. She's got her whole garage converted.
Mm-hmm.
Those epoxy tumblers. And so I was like, I'm gonna do that. And they have mugs. They cupping it up. If you want an epoxy tumbler, check them out on Facebook. They do all the things because I've sent them several things. I'm just like, hey, I want this. Or
Mm-hmm.
they do live sales where you can like it's like whoever comments first gets it and and
Mm-hmm.
you pay
Mm-hmm.
for it at the end. So I've gotten several of their stuff. I really like it.
Well, for
I
those
was
of
like,
you who can't see it because you're listening, it is
yes.
it's a black sparkly mug with our Brunch and Judge logo on it. But it's extra special because it has a straw so I can drink my grape juice out of it because
Yeah, it's
I'm
got the
four.
lid but it's one of the, aluminum ones or whatever
Mm-hmm.
that keep it hot. So if you're drinking hot stuff, it stays hot. Drinking cold stuff, it's got a lid, it's got a straw.
It's very nice.
It's a mug with a handle. It's great. I got one too. I still have it in the car. I'm really bad about leaving stuff in the car. I'm just like, yeah, I'll get it later.
I'll get it next time. That's fine. No, in the same way. All right. Well, here we are, episode 28. Our
Yes.
dreams have finally come true. Claire and I are here to judge the topic of, was it books into movies?
Books into movies / TV shows
Slash TV shows. So just so you know, this will stay on the wheel forever because we have lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of feelings.
and
But
thoughts
our number
and all the things.
one feeling is, and we keep saying Dan Brown. It's not Dan Brown.
It's not really Dan Brown. He
We
wrote the
we we
books.
love Dan Brown's books.
Yes.
They're excellent. They're exciting. They're thrilling. I learn a lot, and it's cool and interesting. The issue is that then Ron Howard
Yeah,
turns
right.
them into
Gets a hold
movies,
of them.
and you're left going, "Did you read the fucking book? Hello,
Right. Like I
hello."
usually I mean it's not and I'm not like this with all of Ron Howard's movies. I'm not. I mean, I think he's a good director.
Eh, he's
He's
fine.
got plenty of good
He's fine.
movies, but it's just like I feel like April and I were talking about this before we started recording, but it's just like he has progressively gotten worse with each book to movie.
Right.
Like the first book, let's just start there. First book to movie. Because the first book released was Angels and Demons, but the first movie he did was Da Vinci Code.
Which is fair because
I mean,
honestly, that was the first book I read too. Da Vinci
right.
Code was the one that blew up because everybody got all outraged over Jesus
Yes.
having children destroys salvation. It's like,
So
does
I
it
think we should
though?
start there. Let's
Mm,
start with the first movie. We'll start with, yeah. Because, yeah, I didn't even realize who he was until this book came out.
right.
I was in college. I think
I read it.
we got to tell
My
the story of my parents almost getting divorced over this.
and say my debate
Not
coach
really,
gave
but
it to me. He was like, "You'd probably like this." Now you need to know my debate coach, my first one, is a giant asshole. Love him dearly, but like total asshole. Um, I know he's not listening. We haven't kept in touch, but he was a really good coach, but something just, just we, we drove each other nuts. It was fine. It was fine.
Was he the one with the bottle caps? Like
Yes,
the water bottle
yes,
lids? Okay.
yes. That
Okay.
just lived everywhere in his office.
Because you
It
were like
was.
always finding them and
I
you were
was
like,
like,
what is this?
why
Throw it
can't you
away.
throw this away? Well, he's also the one that would throw like the little this cheap plastic Bic pen, those little cap parts.
Uh-huh.
He would throw those at me during debate practice if I did something he didn't like, and I would throw them back at his face because I'm like, don't throw things at me. It's a whole thing. It's a
What
whole
is
thing.
this?
I don't know. Super toxic, I'm sure, but like I look back on it fondly, so it's fine. That's fine.
So I heard about the book because mom and dad went on a trip. I think they went to Arizona or
Hmm.
something. I don't know. Anyway, it was like I think mom had it and first and then dad read it. I don't know. Anyway, so they come back from their little trip to Arizona and they're talking about this book that I have not read. And their little argument. I was like, oh, I'm gonna read it. And then dad was basically almost forbidding me to
Oh,
read it.
yes, which is hysterical because we were actual adults.
Yeah. This wasn't like I was a fake adult, like I was like 17 and thought I could do whatever. No, I'm like in college.
Yeah.
Like I'm 21, 22, something like that. Like, no, you absolutely cannot keep me from reading books at this point in my life. April was there. She saw the whole
Mm-hmm.
thing. But
Yeah.
then my parents
Yeah.
got into this huge, like, I don't even know what argument, discussion, whatever you want to call it, about because the whole point of this book that made it explode was that Jesus had a secret child. And my mom's point of view was like,
So
it
what?
changes nothing. That changed,
Right. It's
even if
like,
Jesus had a child, that
so
changes
what?
nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But my dad's point of view was like, it changes everything. And so then it turned into this, like, why it would change everything, why it wouldn't. And April and I were just kind of standing there watching this, like,
Well,
whatever it was
and like
unfold. And we're like, oh God, what's
my
happening right now?
my memory, and maybe this is a false memory because it's been 20 years ago at this point, um, is that I said something like I brought something up about the book because I had already read it or something,
Yeah.
and like it reignited their conversation. I think
Or
because
something
I was
like that.
standing there
Yeah.
and I was like, Claire, did I just make your parents get a divorce? Claire, did I make your parents get a divorce? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. It was
It
just
was
like,
really just bananas. It's like, okay, guys, it's not real. It's just a book,
book.
and it's just a
But it
theory.
turned into this thing like, what if Jesus did have a child? And then it was like,
Uh-huh.
wow. It was like, oh,
I really
okay, this is
so like
I wouldn't say argument because they weren't like yelling at each other. I'd
right.
say it was like a very intense, passionate
It
discussion.
it was the most intense, passionate discussion I had seen between your parents. I mean, to
Right.
be fair, it's not like I lived with you or anything, but
Right,
like I was like,
exactly.
is everything okay?
I know it was like, even I don't even think, I was just like, oh, what's going on here? What's happening now?
And it's funny
But
because like
anyway.
today I would, people would be in that discussion. I'd be like, but what if Jesus never existed? What if it was all a big lie? It's
Right. What
like
if
we
it's
can what
all
if all
a
day. Calm down.
hoax?
You need to calm down. But yes, I remember that book was beyond fascinating to me. I
Same.
loved all of the different there's knowing that there were different theories like that out there was
Right.
really altering for me. Like I
Oh,
I
especially for
suddenly
both
was
of
like,
us
oh
growing
my
up.
gosh. Well, because we had
Yeah.
always
Grown up in this Southern Baptist households,
we've been
it's like,
indoctrinated with a certain belief system, which every
right.
family does. Every family
Yeah.
indoctrinates their children in some belief system or lack thereof. So
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. But that was one of those moments when I was like, "Oh God, this isn't just people sit around and love Jesus. There are people who are scholars that are thinking about and doing research on not necessarily from a religious perspective of faith and holiness,
Right.
but out of historical context and understanding." And I'm like, "This is far more
Yes.
fascinating. I'm here for this." So,
Right. And I remember, like, when I did read it, it was one of those that it was, I, like, couldn't put it down. It was
mhm,
just, I devoured it. I was like,
mhm.
this is,
Well,
and I think for
all
me,
the
because it was like,
puzzles, all the
yeah, the
puzzles,
puzzles
love it.
and the art aspect. I think that's why I really like Dan Brown, is
Mhm.
because I never did read The Lost Symbol.
Oh no.
I don't think I've read that one, but I've read the others, and just the art aspect in them
Mhm.
too, because that was my major in college, and it was just, I've always been into that kind of thing. So it was like the history and the art and the mystery. I really like mysteries. I'm one of those people. Thrillers, that kind of thing, exciting
Mhm.
things. Yes.
Well, and for
So I
me,
think that's why.
it's I the history. I like the art not necessarily from an artistic perspective, but like understanding the like hidden imagery and that kind of
Right.
stuff is was like super fascinating. Symbols and symbology is super fascinating to me. I love puzzles.
Yes.
I love cryptex more than any other puzzle thing I've ever come across. I love that when you put the correct answer, a thing slides out and there's a prize inside. I'm like, I need that. I
Right.
want one. Give me
And you're
one.
like, yes.
Literally bought one for the library that I used in my Harry Potter escape room because, and it's a nice cryptex. Like it is heavy duty metal,
Yeah.
good stuff. I bought it on Amazon. Just plug
You
in
get
that.
to set your own password.
You do. You can change it.
Nice.
I
Nice.
know, right? So I'm gonna have to
That's
buy one
fancy.
just for myself.
Right.
Obvi. Weirdly, though, total random aside, inside of this cryptex that is a Da Vinci Code cryptex, because it's sort of like a romance gift. If you open it with "I love you" is the initial password.
Oh,
Whatever.
okay.
And inside are two rings. So, like, I guess the impression is like a "Will you marry me" kind of a thing. But
Okay.
which fine, whatever. But inside the Da Vinci Code cryptex, because it's the Da Vinci Code
Yeah.
cryptex,
Mm-hmm.
in which the password is "I love you," are two rings that are Lord of the Rings rings. Please explain why.
What?
I don't know. It was the most bizarre. I was like,
What?
but why? What are we even doing this for, guys? It's like,
You're like, I'm
uh,
so confused. There are so many things going on right here
I
right
know.
now.
But then I added a whole new layer to that because I was like, Da Vinci Code cryptex that is all about romance. That inside is Lord of the Rings for Harry Potter escape room.
Yes.
Let's throw in some more fandom. It'll be
It's
great.
fine.
It's fine.
All the things. Oh my gosh.
But so I think my hope is that anyone who's listening to this have read or watched the movies to enough degree that they can enjoy this. If you haven't and you don't want spoilers, stop listening because they're old. These are all old.
Yeah.
You've had time.
We're yes.
But I think that we should do kind of like our top 5 things that piss us off the most about Ron Howard's
Mm.
bastardizations of Dan Brown's
And y'all,
books.
that's like a short list, man. I'm telling you, because the
Mm-hmm.
list is long.
Yeah, there are all sorts of like itty bitty
Right.
things that just make me go, that annoy me. Like, but why did you do that? There was no
Right.
reason. There's no reason at all.
Yes. So yes, top 5
Okay.
for, and these are going to cover all 3 of these movies.
Yes. Yes.
To books to movies.
I have not watched all of the Lost Symbol TV show. It's on Peacock. I think it's
I
Peacock.
haven't either. I started it
So
and then I
I
got sidetracked with
I
other
don't know
things.
how it compares. So this is really just Ron Howard.
Yes. Yep.
All right. So obviously the biggest worst thing out of all of the books into movies, the number one, because we're starting big, the number one
Yes.
thing that pisses us off beyond all imagination is in the movie Inferno, where Robert Langdon somehow manages to save the world from the virus, and basically the entire ending of that movie. It's nothing even remotely like the book. It's not like I was like, did you read the end? Did you read the end of the book?
Because here's what we theorize about Ron Howard. He he reads the back and then he just fills in his own blanks with
Right?
whatever.
Like I feel like
And
there's
it's like,
Cliff's notes
sir,
or something.
what are you doing? I don't even know that he reads Cliff
That's
Notes.
fair
Like some of this stuff
because
is just
so in each book there is kind of like there's an overarching theme at play, or there's something that you're learning a whole lot about, whether you meant to become educated or not. Dan
right.
Brown wrote it in, so you now are educated in it. So like in the first one, it's a lot of the history of Christianity as well as potential lineage of Jesus and what that means and why there were different factions of groups and things that voted on and this and that. You learn more about the creation of the Bible as we understand it,
And then
Jesus
also like
story.
how Leonardo da Vinci played into
Mhm.
that and his little hidden messages and all that jazz. So it's just yeah.
So in Inferno, one of the big overarching themes is the issue of overpopulation in the world.
Mhm.
Now, don't at me. I've heard in all the crap about how, oh no, birth rates are going down and there's concern, blah, 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 blah. There's no concern. That's all made up. Guys,
Right.
the world has more people in it now than it ever has, and that's gonna continue to grow. Like
Right.
it may not be here, although now that Roe versus Wade is gone, it might be. But
Right.
I mean, people are constantly being born. So
Right.
it's
And
there's
this book, yeah.
it really deals with the issues of limited resources, of um what that means for the world and the issues that it creates, as well as the issue of eventually it's going to create a huge pandemic that isn't just like COVID that,
Right.
though
Gonna kill
bad,
everybody. Yeah.
doesn't kill like every third person. So
And the villain in this, and I say villain in quotes because I feel like at first you're like, oh yeah, this guy is a villain. He's wanting to kill half the world or a third of the world, because overpopulation. But as the book goes on and you realize, you're like, no, no, this guy is not the villain. He wasn't wanting to kill the population. And the virus in the book just makes a third of the world's population eternally sterile.
mm-hmm.
And I feel like this is the one time, really, in recent times for me, that I'm like, I don't feel like that bad guy was really such a bad
Well,
guy. I'm
it's
just like, I kind of agree with him.
so
I don't, yeah.
let's equate this with Thanos from the Marvel universe.
Right.
So
Yes, exactly.
Thanos has the same concerns. Thanos understands that overpopulation is problematic. There's limited resources in the universe, and he knows that this maintaining the status quo is just going to lead to famine, starvation, war, and more horrible things. So he goes psychotic, crazy guy, and goes and like just randomly murders half of populations everywhere he goes.
Yes.
So he's who you don't want to be.
Right.
In Inferno, the guy is recognizing these same things, is realizing that there's nothing that any government is really going to be able to do to fix this. Like it's because it's going to be, the same way that climate change is an issue, because like a handful of countries are all like, yeah, we're going to fix this, but if everyone isn't in it together, it doesn't make a damn
Right.
difference.
And it's not even like you could even be, countries could be like China and impose a child restraint,
Mm-hmm.
because all it's going to do is just create, that it's going to wind up being like
Well,
China, where they all want boys
mm-hmm.
and they're just going to ditch the girls. And, you can't live that way either.
and
That's not solving
and
anything.
so he engineers this virus that, you know, randomly somehow. I would love to know how it managed to do it,
Right.
but
I'm like, I
randomly
want to know the ins and outs of this. Yeah.
randomly manages to infect a third of the population, regardless of age, race, creed, religion, location, whatever. And a third of the entire world population is sterile. So there's still plenty of people who can make babies, but now there's a third of the population who can't. And, yeah, are there going to be some sad people out there? Well, of course, but I'm kind of like, that is the most
Right.
scientifically fair
Right.
way, and when you're reading this book and you're reading all these horrible issues that are out there, and things that are problematic because of overpopulation, like we authentically can't feed people.
Right.
We don't completely understand that here in the United States, because most of us don't have food scarcity issues, and we can't imagine that. But it's lately with inflation, you can't buy as much at the grocery, so it's starting to hit people. And I'm like, what happens when we have so many people and we can't make enough food for them? There's an awful lot of people who aren't going to get to eat, and they'll starve to death. Like, the world
Because I
doesn't
think right
care.
now a lot
There
of the
are people
people
are already
probably
starving to death.
think that it seems like we have an infinite amount of resources, and we do not.
We do not.
It's all very finite,
Mm-mm.
you know, in many different ways. So it's just, yeah, I feel like this bad guy. He's
Well,
the one bad guy that I'm like,
and
yeah,
in the book,
fair.
it ends in this like mundane kind of calm thing where he finally finds the location of the canister. Like he wanders down and he finds it, and he sees that it has already emptied. But at this point he knew what it was. Like he knew
Yeah,
that it wasn't some plague that's gonna like infect people and make them die quick, slow agonizing deaths or death at all. It was,
right.
and he kind of just, I remember he watched people like taking photographs or whatever as he realized that that canister had opened. And he just was like, maybe this is okay. Like I didn't get to stop it, but I'm gonna be okay with that. And then
Because I feel
his
like in that moment when I was reading it,
Mhm.
I remember at first I was semi-horrified. I was like, "Oh
Right.
my god, he didn't save the day."
He
Like, I
didn't.
was
Yeah, he
and then
didn't
it was
save the day.
right, and it was, like, as it went on and, like, I'm finishing up and you're reading the end of it, and then you're thinking it back and you're like, "But I think that was, like, the best way to not save the day."
Mhm.
If it's like, you didn't save the day, but you might have saved the planet by
Right?
not saving the day.
Well, and
That
so
was where I mean,
yeah.
it was like a process to get to that place in my head. But I remember my immediately gut reaction in reading that at the end when it was like the thing had already opened and it had been like a week or something. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't like he was close,
Yeah.
you know, and it had already he put it into the water system, so people were drinking it. It was just like I was like, he didn't I mean, I felt like, oh my God, that's terrible. But then it was just like you think
But
about it more
then you're
and you
like, but is it? I mean, it's one of those you wish there were a better way, but this seemed
right.
like okay. And I think what made me so angry at the movie is that they don't talk about overpopulation at all. They don't talk about that
No.
being the issue. They don't
Mm-mm.
talk about the which was a huge plot point. Like it was one of the
Yes.
major plot points in the book and it's just like, nope, it's a virus. He's going to kill people because he's crazy.
Yes.
We got to stop it. And you're like, fuck you.
And it's like that was this guy's like whole life work
Mm,
was the problem of overpopulation in the book. That's how much I mean it was everything this guy did was to try to do something to combat overpopulation and
mhm.
none of that.
And so I think
None of that in the
that's
movie.
that's why that's my or our really number
Yes.
one big huge thing that makes me irrationally angry because it was the 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 point of the whole book and it just isn't in the
Yes.
movie at all. Not any of it. Not a drop. And you're like Dan
Cuz
Brown was
I think
trying
that's
to
one of the
say
things
something and you just
right.
ignored it.
And that's one of the things I think that irks me a lot with most books to movies is when they don't
Mhm.
get it's like that this was the essence of the entire book, and you just ignored it.
Hate.
That's like yeah, any book to movie that does that, I'm just like, "You're trash. Whoever directed this, trash. Who wrote this screenplay?" Yeah, that's
Ugh.
where I'm at.
It makes me want to reread Inferno. It's a very good book.
It is a
Highly,
good book.
highly recommend. Just I mean, I love all of them for different reasons, but that
Yes.
one that's one of those where like my mind again, like I think maybe that's why I like them so much. My mind changes about things reading those books. Like I learn
Mhm.
information in a way that I'm like,
Right.
I'm willing to consider a different thought. Like, man, overpopulation is an issue. We really should be
Yes.
concerned about this and preparing and making choices, like not having children. Wink wink, nudge nudge.
I know.
Um
As April and I are doing our part by not procreating,
that's
so
right. You're
consider
welcome.
adoption, people, come on.
You're welcome, world.
Right.
Okay. Number 2, equally as infuriating, slightly less as big a deal, but just slightly. We're going to Angels and Demons.
Mhm.
This is in the movie. Ron Howard, in his infinite annoyingness, saves the very last priest of was it the Preferetti? I believe is what they were called.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
And his name is Bagia. Bagia?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mhm.
Nah.
Basia, I think,
They
yeah.
change a lot of names between the book and the movie,
Uh-huh.
and this one for no
And
real
it's like
reason. And I can't. I have to like have a guide with arrows to figure out who's who.
right,
Um,
right.
but so Bagia survives his encounter in the fountain because Robert Langdon is able to save him, and so Bagia ends up becoming the new pope.
Not in the book at all.
Not at all.
No. I know.
And like, okay, so maybe that doesn't seem like a huge big deal to you, except there similar how at the end of Inferno, you have this weird feeling of Robert Langdon didn't save the
Save
day.
the day. Mhm.
And you're like, he didn't save the day. That's how it felt in this book. You're like,
When
oh
you're
my
reading it,
God,
yeah.
they're
Because you're like,
all
this is the
for this.
last
This is the
one.
last one. And he
Mm-hmm.
tried so hard. Like he was trying so hard. And, like you can feel it in the book and it's heart-wrenching. And he dies anyway. And you're like, this is awful.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Yes.
he of course just becomes Pope because he's the only one of the four who didn't die. And I guess that I'm like, dude. Well, he has PTSD like hardcore now. So like
Right.
he is questioning
Because for
God
those of you
and
who don't know, in the
everything.
book, they were kidnapped. The four cardinals who were up to be Pope were kidnapped and held hostage and killed off one by one according to elements, earth, wind,
Mm-hmm.
fire, all that stuff. So it's like, yeah. So this guy, his was water and he was going to be drowned. And they were also branded with
Mm-hmm.
a brand. So it's like they were semi tortured. Yeah. All of them, had any of them lived in the book, they would have had PTSD,
Well, and
just
like
saying.
I'm just saying he lives in this movie. After almost dying, he is saved by the weird water or the air pump in the water
Water
fountain.
fountain. Yep.
And I just feel like after basically drowning and then kind of coming back to life, also having been branded, so like he's got like major like third degree plus burns on his body. He's not really fit to maybe like rule the whole Catholic Church for like a bit. Like he's going to need some time, okay? Just
Right.
for like hospital stays and, some nice burn salves to like,
Right.
some therapy and counsel. Like, is the Pope allowed to go to therapy? I don't know the rules. I don't know the rules.
Right. Yeah. And I read something, I can't when I was like looking stuff up about differences between the books and the movies and all that. I can't remember where it was, but it was somebody had interviewed, it may have been a Bustle article
Love
about
bustle.
Inferno specifically, but where they had talked to Ron Howard about changing the
Mm-hmm.
ending of Inferno. And I feel like this is kind of the same thing. And he's just like, well, audiences, they just don't, you know, like bad endings. And I'm like, how dare you?
That
You
wasn't a
know,
bad ending. It was an
they
excellent
don't, they're
ending
not
if
bad
you
endings, but like
bothered to read
they
it.
they want happy endings. Like they and I'm just like, but
There
that's not real
was.
life,
Well,
It's
but I felt like Angels and Demons had the best ending because, and
yes.
that's actually my next thing that makes me irrationally angry. Um, so we'll just skip ahead to it and then we'll just put it all together in one big thing.
Yeah.
Is in the book, Mortati is the elector or whatever.
Yeah. Mhm.
And he in the book is this wise, kind, caring, good character that you just feel good listening to. He's guiding, like he knows that the four Prefereti have been kidnapped, like he knows everything and
Yes.
he is just trying to keep it all together. And he's older, he was a good friend to the previous pope, like he is this great good person. And after everything happens, he ends up becoming pope and it feels right. Like when
Yes.
like I'm getting chills now just thinking about it because I remember reading it being like he
This
is
is
the
the only
best choice.
correct. Yeah,
He's
this
the
is the
best
only
choice
correct
regardless
ending.
of the Prefereti. Like he really was the one that's going to be best at this, that is truly in a good place for this. And in the movie, they changed his name. He's something else, Strauss, maybe. I don't know.
I think it is Strauss. I wrote some stuff down. Hang
Yeah,
on.
I tried to write down the weird name changes, but I don't know.
Right, right, right,
But
right, right. Because there
he's
were
actually this like
many.
calculating. He comes across as calculating and manipulative. Like
And you
he's
almost feel
trying.
like
You feel like he's
you almost feel
trying to
like he's
become
the
pope,
bad
and he
guy. Yeah.
feels bad. And I hated that more than most of the things that they did, just because I felt such good vibes from the character reading the book. Like it felt like a warm hug.
Yes.
And so it made me, I'm like, there was an excellent ending to that movie that even with all the bad that happened, there was this person that people weren't thinking of that was actually the best obvious choice,
Right.
but they just shoved him aside. And it took a time of crisis for people to see his value. And I'm like, but that's okay. This guy got branded, so he gets to be Pope now. Whatever.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. It
that's
was
really
just
what it
like
felt like. It was such a weird.
I know.
stupid thing to change. And it's like,
Yes. I concur. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
oi, oi, it makes me
Oy
angry.
oy vey indeed.
It makes me
Yes.
so angry. I still want him. I still want him to be the Pope. Like when I
Right. You're
watched,
just like, why did you do this?
like I watched the movie. It's probably been like a year ago now. I rewatched Angels and Demons, and it just, even though I hadn't read the book in years, I still
Right.
got all angry about it. I was like, this is wrong. I'm so
Right.
mad.
What but it's like again, if you've not read the books, you're probably like, oh, these are decent movies, And it's like, but you don't
Yeah, you
know.
don't, and that makes me sad. It makes me regret sometimes when I've watched something and I've never read the book.
Yes.
I'm like, maybe I should have read the book. I don't know.
Right.
Okay.
So what's number 4?
Number 4. We're still in Angels and Demons.
Mhm.
They left out all of CERN. They left out Max Kohler and Leonardo
Mhm.
Vetra. They left out how Vittoria was away and had returned to CERN after her father's death, and that Langdon ends up being taken to CERN at the beginning of it. They left all of that out.
All gone.
They left
Yep.
out all of this
Well, and
important stuff
not only
that.
that, it's like they changed the like cuz she was working on the antimatter with her father,
Mm-hmm.
and then they change all that
So she's like some random
because her
lab
father's the
partner or
one who
whatever,
dies,
right?
and then it's like, oh, it's her partner, and his name is Silvano, and what? Why? Why are we changing people's names?
Well, and that,
That's one thing that just
yeah,
drives me bananas because it's like you'll change somebody's name, it's a completely different character, but it serves the exact same purpose of the person you replaced. That to me is so
stupid.
dumb.
It's so,
It's
and they
so
did it
dumb.
so much in this movie too.
Yeah.
But like to me, it was like, so Kohler was like this potential bad guy, or there's whole complicated thing happening
Yes.
there, and we get none of that. We don't get how Langdon was called to CERN. Like he was on the cool
He
supersonic
got to
jet to
Yeah,
CERN,
he got to go.
and
Yeah.
that's where it all started, the whole thing. And then they end up going um to Rome or whatever to try and
Yeah.
to to solve and find and do or whatever. And he's with Vittoria, who's upset because her father was murdered, and
Yes.
just this whole thing that's just completely left out for no reason.
Right. Wasn't she refresh my memory? Wasn't she adopted by that guy? Like he wasn't really her father, or was I
Um,
thinking of something else?
I don't remember. Maybe, but I don't remember now.
Okay.
Drinking my grape juice. But like it, I get this feeling that maybe Ron Howard or his screenwriter has issues about father-daughter relationships or father-child relationships.
Maybe.
Because
Well, and
they
also
like
with
to
this,
leave it out a lot.
yeah.
That makes me stupid angry. Because one of
Well,
my
even in the book, it's like I feel like the antimatter was more dangerous in the book
mm-hmm,
than it came across in the movie because in the book the antimatter gets stolen. It's in this container and it needs to stay a certain temperature and all, or it can't touch. That's what it is. It
yeah,
can't touch. If it touches, it's going to explode and the battery keeps it separated, blah, blah, blah. And in the book, for her to keep it safe, like she would have to get the canister and fly
and
it
back
back
to
to
CERN.
CERN.
Mm-hmm.
But in the movie, it's like, oh, I just have to change the battery pack. Like,
Right?
what?
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh. This is, yeah. It's like, this is not a Discman. Okay. Calm down.
Well, and so semi-related, but not. And this was one of my honorable mentions of things that annoy me. In that same vein of Ron Howard leaving out important relationships,
Right.
he leaves out that the dead pope and some random nun who I don't remember at all were actually the parents of the Carmelingo.
Camerlingo.
I can't ever say it.
See, for me, I know this is the one for me with this book
Mm-hmm.
that makes me the most angry because I feel like this was again,
the motive, the reasoning.
the essence of
Mhm.
the book, because it was the Pope and this nun before he was Pope. He was just a priest. And this nun, they loved each other, but they wanted to stick to their vows. And so they found a way for her to have a baby without them, you know, betraying their vows to God. So they were able to stay celibate. She was able, so they use science. That
Mhm.
was the whole thing
Yeah, it's the science and
yeah,
religion don't have to fight. They can coexist
they
and
can
help each other.
coexist. Yes. And that was the whole that I feel like that to me was the essence
That
of the
yes.
entire
Angels and demons,
book.
yeah.
Yeah, science and religion can coexist. They can help each other out. And that was, but it was like the Camerlingo found out all of that and he felt like he'd been betrayed by the Pope, so that's why he killed him.
Mhm.
But to me, it's just like, no, this is my number one gripe with this book because, and I feel like there was like, and that's why I think what's her face was adopted by, because they thought that what the Camerlingo had been adopted by the Pope. But when they get
Right.
in and they find out what had actually happened, I feel like there was also like that parallel with Victoria and her father,
Right.
with the Camerlingo and the Pope, because she was adopted. He thought he'd been adopted, and then it all came out. But there was like kind of that parallel with the father child,
Right.
thing going on there. But this is my number one gripe is because they just gloss over it. It's like, oh, the Pope adopted the Camerlingo because he was like in some war torn country, and it's not any of that. Because I mean, it's like that's the whole reason that he kills the Pope is because he finds out that he is actually the Pope's son, like biological son,
Mhm.
and he feels like the Pope has betrayed his vows to God and that he's a fraud, even though he really isn't. That to me was like
Yeah.
the biggest miscarriage of justice for this
Well,
movie, the book to movie, because I was like,
and again,
Ron,
it's
what are you doing?
missing the science and religion. Like there, it touches it some obviously, but it doesn't hit it
Yes.
the way the book does. It doesn't show the
Yeah.
how embracing science does not mean you have to reject your
Right.
religion and that they can work hand in hand. It enabled the Pope and the woman that he loved to have a child without violating their vows.
Yes.
So, it is really cool.
Because I mean, it was, yeah, that to me, that was
Mhm.
like the biggest miscarriage of justice for this book. Because I was
Mhm.
like, this is the whole reason this happened.
Right. And they
If
just
this
play
hadn't
it up.
happened, there would be no
And
story.
what's frustrating is that, like, it's literally 5 more sentences of dialogue. Like,
Right.
they touched it so
Ugh.
much without just, like, saying it. Like, just say this.
Yes.
Like, you just need 5 more sentences. It's fine. You can do it. No.
It's like, or if
Oh.
you, I mean, listen, come on, why? Just 10 more minutes.
Mhm.
10 more minutes of movie.
Not
Nobody's
even.
going to
I mean,
complain.
it probably could, like, 2 minutes. You could,
Right.
whatever.
I mean, it's not even like they were like on the cusp of being as long as The Irishman, which is like 4 hours long. It's just like
Right.
that my boyfriend made me watch.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The things we do for love.
Right. But it's just, it's like, come on, guys. Do better. Be better. Be better storytellers.
Alright.
Stop. Stop killing the story.
So my last and final thing that makes me irrationally angry and what the hell why. We're back to Inferno. The entirety of Sienna's character in Inferno. All of it.
Is wrong.
I was like, the fuck happened? She's a bad guy in the movie. Like she's bad. But like
Right.
in the book, you don't like she feels kind of bad, but you find out that it's really just she's trying to stop because she feels bad about what happened and she didn't know that's what he was doing and she's all concerned, so she was wanting to stop it too, and so there's like this whatever happening on, so she's actually like a good guy, and in the very end after the virus has been released, um she agrees to not try and reverse the effects, like not try and fix it, to just let it
Leave it.
be because
Yeah.
overpopulation is an issue, and she spends the rest of her life, trying to to study it and figure things out, or like, I mean, she's a good person and she doesn't die a horrific death in a great big battle in the underwater. None of that happened. There's no battle. None of that.
I
There's no
know,
big
and it's
fight.
just
It's
like,
literally he walks down there one day while tourists are around and he finds the canister after it had already opened. That's how it's so
right.
it's stop it.
I know, because it was, I remember watching that. I was like, this is not at
No.
all. This is not even close. Why did they completely? I mean, it did. I mean,
They
she was
turned
like
her to
legit a bad
she was a
guy.
bad guy. And I was like,
And then it was like she had been in a relationship with the villain,
right,
you
right,
know,
right, right.
but who was just like a crazy maniac in the movie who's just trying to kill people.
Mm-hmm.
And she's trying to carry out his life's work. And I'm like, what in the fresh hell is this? Like, this is not even, and this is what, and that goes along with that Bustle article. It's like, he's just like, well, people want more action. They want a better, happy endings and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, but that doesn't mean you had to make her a bad guy.
No,
Okay.
you
No.
didn't. I mean, you could make her the complex character that makes you guess, is she good, is she bad, what the hell's going
Right.
on? But then in the end, you find out that she's not bad. It's
And I
okay.
feel like when you do storytelling that way, you make everything so black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
I
just,
get that everything is not realistic. I get that, but I feel like stories like these are more complex and there need to be more shades of gray and they need to make you think.
as I say,
That's
but
where I'm
it's
at.
one of those, the when you make a black and white good versus evil kind of movie,
Yes.
they don't
Mhm.
last very long. They don't stand up to time because there's nothing about it to make anyone need to see it again. It's like, oh, and then there it is. It's like, well,
And it's like it's a cookie cutter thing.
it's like there people like I get you can't have hour-long expose to understand all the minutia of each character, but like
Right.
I maybe I'm misguided, but I assume most people are looking for something more, which hence why miniseries and streaming
Yes.
and stuff and are such huge successful endeavors these days is because people want a more of a deep dive into characters and to know the complexities and are they good, are they
Right.
bad, they're somewhere in between. How do I feel about this character now. Ugh.
Exactly.
But I'm also not a super huge movie fan. I find them, especially action movies, I find them loud and unnecessarily flashy.
Right.
No. Okay, but so yes, that one that made me irrationally angry because I liked her character in the book and she had
Right.
such
Yeah.
a disservice done to her. Ugh.
And I feel bad that what's her face? I can't think of who played her in the movie, but I'm just like, ugh, dang it. The chick who played Jen in uh Rogue One. I can't think of her name.
No idea.
Felicity something.
Never
I
saw
can't
it.
think of it. Anyway, but yeah, I was just like, she would have been so much better if the character if they had
And
written her
again,
character the way they should
it's
have.
like they take okay, so just recap. So Da Vinci Code primarily like the book. They left out some things that annoyed me, but they primarily followed along and you got the main gist and the important stuff. And then
Hmm.
Angels and
And I
Demons, they change things unnecessarily and change characters unnecessarily to get to almost the same place, but without really the panache that you need. And then we get to Inferno where they just completely change everything. They take the point of the story, they change a character's intent. They I mean it's just
yeah, and that's what we mean by like it progressively got worse.
yeah. Lord Jesus, don't let Ron
Because it's
Howard
like
make any more.
I understand when you're doing a movie from a book that people love, that you are gonna have I get it. You have to leave stuff out because of time and because of whatever, budget, yada yada.
For
I
example, the
understand.
second
Do what?
cryptex. I said, for example, the
This
second
yeah,
cryptex in Da Vinci Code.
yeah,
Why? It takes 5 more minutes, but whatever, fine.
yeah. And it's just like I get it. And there are certain things like, oh, we need to make this like, oh well, like even in the Da Vinci Code, like, oh, we need to make them find the info on the phone instead of like have a whole other trip to a library.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's like a whole other thing. So
And
it's
it's like,
and
fine, fine, fine.
yeah,
Whatever.
yeah, I get that. Oh, we'll just use our cell phones and find the
Mm-hmm.
info we need right now instantaneously. Like I get for time's sake, stuff like that happens. It's like, whatever. But when you are absolutely like completely changing the reason that the story exists, when you, especially by the end of this, by the time you get to Inferno, you're like,
Mm-hmm.
you just like left out everything important.
Yeah, and
Thanks.
you're like, what? Why? This isn't even. It's not even the book anymore. Like it's so far removed from what the book is that it's like,
Right.
that I almost want to ask Dan Brown if he still gets royalties or not, because it's
I
not really
know.
the same thing at
And it's
all.
also like, I mean, I feel like Dan Brown needs to take some responsibility because I feel like they probably consulted him. But it's
Well,
just like,
I don't know, honestly, because I know that when you sign contracts, often you are signing away your movie rights. J.K. Rowling is one of the few people, for all of her misdeeds in life, by the way. I get it.
right,
Bad,
yes, yes,
awful.
yes, yes.
But of all of the bad things she's done, one of the smart things she's done is she did not sign away movie rights. One, she gets crazy bank from those movies, but two, she got
Right.
to have some say in it to the point that she helped people accept character roles knowing that they would have a more important role in the future because the books weren't finished yet.
Yes.
So, like, she had a lot more sway. Dan Brown may have zero. They may not have
That's
talked to him at
true.
all because, as we know, sometimes directors will let you write a screenplay and then they just set it aside and don't read it and have someone else write it. So, we see you, Stephen
Right.
King. We see you. We're sorry.
Yes. Yeah, we apologize.
Lord.
It's like talking about you, Stanley Kubrick. you know?
Like, that's right. So, like, he may not have had a whole lot to say, but also, like, did you at least hate email Ron Howard? Did you give him a call and be like, hey?
Right. Like, let's talk about
Hmm.
this because you
Uh,
did not do my story justice. Thank you very much.
hmm. Okay. Time for some honorable mentions of things that just irked me for no good reason. We've mentioned a couple. One, leaving out the second cryptex because I just love them, okay? I just fucking love. I'd never heard of a cryptex until that movie, and I want them. I want like five, okay?
And I think that one was cool though because it was like a
Inside the
cryptex inside
cryptex
of a
was
cryptex.
another
Yeah.
cryptex, and it's just like, gah!
Because it's like they left out the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the first one the because the word was Sophia, which the girl's name was Sophie.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like that, wrapped all that together.
Mm-hmm.
There was a whole reason for that. And that to me was like, but they left out the first one. Why did they
Mm-hmm.
just have to do this? I don't know. you know. Yeah, I concur with that. That was annoying. But I mean, it's like I
It's like,
can live with it.
yeah, it's like fine, whatever. Well, and that they left out her brother. Like she meets her brother
Yes,
at
at
the
the
end of the
end.
book, and you're like, she has family, and you feel good in that moment. And they leave that out in the movie, and you're like,
And in the movie, it's just like,
whatever.
oh, here's her grandma. Yeah.
Here's some people in a
right.
church. Have fun, whatever. But and we talked about how they left out that the Pope and the nun were actually the parents of the Carmelingo, and they left that out. They were so close, like literally 3 sentences of dialogue.
I
Could have done
know.
it.
Because I mean that they did talk about how he was the son, of adoptive son, and then it's like all you had to
Mm-hmm.
do is be like, oh, but wait, here's this.
And
Like how hard would that be?
they left out how Langdon went up into the helicopter and then ends up falling into the
Yes.
Tiber
Mm-hmm.
and all of that. Whatever, fine, shorten it, blah blah blah. But the thing that actually pissed me off a stupid amount, just because I wanted it, um, is in Angels and Demons, the last brand is supposed to be the
yes.
Illuminati
Oh,
diamond with all four, fire, earth, water, air, so that
we'll find a
so
picture,
that you
throw it
can
up so you can see what this is. But
so that it is also oh, what's it called?
it's
Same
an
upside and down.
ambiogram.
Thank you.
Ambiogram.
Ambiogram. And that was supposed to be the final brand. And instead it was these stupid cross keys that were not the same,
No,
an
not
ambigram.
even.
And they're just
And it was this whole thing about how like when you do them upside down, that like indicates like how Saint Peter died. And it's like, no, 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 that's
nuts.
not how this goes.
This is stupid. And so
Yeah.
like that made me angry, but not just because they
Yes.
changed the brand, but because they give the cross key brand to Langdon as like a you can borrow this indefinitely. in the movie when that's not
Yes,
what the
but
book.
not nope.
In the book, he gets to have Diagama, the book that
Yes,
they ripped a page
yeah,
out of, I think,
diagama.
but he gets to
Yeah,
have that on loan indefinitely, which is what he had been pestering the Vatican for years. He needed it for a book,
because
and they let him have
yeah,
it. So I'm
he
like,
wanted to see what
why?
the book was with the, 'cause that was the whole thing with the church and
Mhm.
science and all of that. Yeah, mhm.
And I was
Yeah,
like,
I think that because you
why?
said you wanted it, I wanted it too because it's like I wanted to
See
see
it.
it.
I wanted to
I
see it.
wanted it. And then it's
And they're
like,
like,
what is this cross
here's some
keys
cross keys
nonsense?
that represents the Pope or whatever. And I'm like, the fuck is this? This isn't what
Part of
it's
me is like,
supposed to
there is a
be.
subdivision in the town where I was from called Cross Keys, and I'm like,
Yeah,
no, stop.
that's right.
With the big, and they had these giant cross keys at the entrance, and it's like, come on,
They
y'all.
just
Like,
stole
that's the first thing I thought of
they,
when I
they
saw
just
that
stole
brand
the
watching it.
neighborhood brand and threw it on a thing.
No.
It's close enough.
I know
Like they
it's like
ran out of
everybody in that
budget
neighborhood.
to pay for an artist to make the ambigram, and they're like, we'll just cross some keys together. It's
Part of me
fine.
is like, they didn't have to pay for it because it was already like a picture in the book. Because I
Yeah.
remember like reading the Da Vinci, or not the Angels and Demons, reading that, and they had like they had little
Mm-hmm.
drawings of what the things look like, so people, because I think sometimes it'd be hard to visualize
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And because like one of the first one was like it was the word Illuminati, that was the
Mm-hmm.
ambiogram, and then each one after that, each of the preferiti had the brand on them. So the one who died by getting stabbed in the lung, his was air, and the one who burned, it was fire. But it was all of them were ambiograms. But
Mm-hmm.
then the last one was all
All
the
of them.
elements
Mm-hmm.
together in this square diamond thingy, and it was just like so cool. I remember thinking, oh, that is the coolest thing I have ever seen, to make it where it didn't matter like which way you turned it, you could still read it. And I was like, and that wasn't in the movie, and I was so disappointed by
And
that.
I
I
was
was
like,
like,
again, it was one of those things of
really?
like,
That's
it
laziness right there.
you
Lazy.
you did it. You just did it with something else. Why? Why? Why would you change
Right.
that? Just why?
Yeah. Mm,
All right.
angry, angry, so much anger.
So,
But like the thing about, I think one of the reasons I feel like Angels and Demons was such a big deal for me and why I get so angry about it. April and I took a trip when we graduated college, and with her friend Sarah, and we were in Europe for like 2.5 weeks. It was like happy graduation to us.
mm-hmm.
2.5 weeks we're in Europe, but like we were actually in Rome, and that was my book that I took on the trip to read while we were on this bus traveling around Europe and all that. So I remember I'm like reading this book and in Rome, and I've like, because there's this whole thing about the map, and you draw these places on the map and it makes
Right.
a cross
Mm-hmm.
and where it meets. And I was like, did that on my map, and I'm like, this is so cool. Like I was just, and it was like one of my favorite because that one featured Bernini.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of my favorite sculptors. Talked about Van Gogh being my favorite painter, Bernini my favorite sculptor. So yeah, it was just like, and so we got to see all these things I'm actually reading about in the book, and I'm like, this is like the coolest thing. Like it's like I was in that book. That's one of my, yeah. I think that's why that one affects me more, but than like Inferno,
Mm-hmm.
because but, I mean I had been to Italy too. I just
Right.
wasn't like,
In
I
Italy when
wasn't
you were
there
reading
looking
it.
at the
Yeah.
Botticelli stuff while I was
That's
reading Inferno,
fair.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like for me, the one that irks me the most is the Angels and Demons one, but I think it was just because I was so in it while I was there while I was
Mm-hmm.
reading the book, and I got to see all these things, and I'm like, oh, "This is so cool. I need to do this more often. Let's go travel some more."
Yeah, let's go do it now. Let's blow off
Yeah,
our
let's
jobs
just take
and
off,
just leave.
leave, just go. We'll go and get a Viking cruise to Antarctica so we can say that we've been there.
Like I know. Right? I also super want to go to Iceland. It's super on my list now. I don't know. I just want to
Same.
go. I want to go to Iceland. Blah, blah, blah.
I didn't really
Iceland.
thought about it, but I remember that one time you were talking, you're like, "Hey, I don't know if y'all knew this, but if you take a trip to Iceland, like it's just like a six
Yeah,
hour flight from New York."
yeah. It's not that far.
She's like, "We should do that. Like, just take
We
like
could
a half a week or
we could
something,
do
and
like
then
a
go
long
to
weekend and go
Iceland."
to Iceland. Like it's
Yeah,
not even like that big a deal. Hell, it takes that long for
right,
me to fly across the country anyway. So,
right. So yeah,
Ugh. Well, there you
COVID
have
ruins
it.
the
Those
party
are
for everyone.
my our most hated things that Ron Howard did to our beloved Dan Brown books.
It's true.
We're calling you out,
And you're
Ron
just like
Howard.
Ron. You're just like Ron. What are you doing?
Again, we understand sometimes you have to leave stuff out, sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you have to action stuff up a bit, but like don't change the entire point of the book. That's all
And
we ask.
I think as a director, he needs to give the audience more credit than just wanting a happy ending.
Mm-hmm.
Like you need to act like your audience is more intelligent than what you're treating them like. So
Well,
that's where it's just like, come
and
on.
ultimately, if they're only there for the action part, they don't really care
Right.
how it ends. They're only going to remember the action scenes anyway.
Absolutely. 100%.
They're going to be like, it was fine. It ended fine. But the explosions, man, they're awesome.
Right. Yeah. No. Mm-mm.
Ugh,
But
whatever.
yeah, that's our Ron Howard hate.
Yeah.
We promise next time we get this, we'll have different subjects.
Yes.
It's just that this one was the one that we're like,
Yes.
we are both on the same page on this one. It's like,
It is particularly displeasing.
yes, absolutely. But yeah, we'll throw up some pictures when we talk about these things so y'all can see
Mhm.
exactly what we were referring to. But yes. All right. So I guess that means it is time for
Tarot time with
time
a
with April.
spooky spooky. Want to see my cool new tarot card holder?
Yes.
It has a little kitty on it.
It does have a
The other
kitty.
side has some moons.
I love it.
And even cooler,
That is cool. It raises it up as you opens
yep.
it. That's great. I love it.
It's a 3D print from the library.
What?
I know. We 3D printed that crap. Look at me.
That's awesome.
All right. Oh, my water bottle is in the picture. Oops. All righty. Are we ready to see what the cards hold for us this week?
Let's do it.
Here we go. A shuffling among the leaves so green.
It's my favorite.
Here we go. A shuffling. No Ron Howards to be seen. Love and joy come to you, and a new Dan Brown book too. And God bless
Yes.
you and hope there's a new screenwriter. And God bless you and hope it's not Ron Howard.
Nice.
And there's
Stop.
and there's my song. I'm done. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I was just like, wait, I was like, where's this going?
Who knows? I don't know when I start it, but here we are. All right, let's see. What have I done? Oh, okay. We're going to start off with the 3 of coins, also known as pentacles.
Pentacles.
Then we're going to move to the 5 of swords inverted.
Oh, we've not had an inverted one in a minute.
Well, we're going to end with the King of Cups, also inverted, so fuck us.
Oh. King of Cups inverted. Uh-oh.
Sounds like a bad week to be us.
I mean, usually though with the swords, the inverted is
Not so
like
bad.
the better one. So I've been seeing. Have we had the King of Cups?
I don't know.
We have. Norse mythology week apparently.
Oh.
But that was upright, so this is not.
Although I did put him upright. Oops, he was inverted. Okay.
There you go.
Okay. 3 of Pentacles. Teamwork, honest and supportive teamwork. This is a fantastic card for business, friendship, new opportunities, and family issues. It's about the
Yes.
triumph of Team Us over the sometimes petty needs of the individual. This is a journey to a goal, and you can't do it by yourself. What?
That sounds like that sounds like a pretty good card.
Let's see. This is a very encouraging card. Yep. Cool. That's it. Good. Teamwork makes the dream work. I'm here for that.
That's right. Teamwork makes the dream work. That's the theme of this week.
Alright, 5 of swords inverted. Okay, so the guy stole your swords. That was a jerky thing to do, but we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt and let that stuff go. Release it. Honestly, it's just weighing you down. The 5 of swords inverted is asking why you are carrying all of this resentment around. It doesn't serve you. Put it down. I have a lot of resentment. I'm not gonna lie, I'm full of it. Lots of resenting feelings, generally directed towards like the Jeff Bezos of the world, or
Right. Yeah.
okay, that was nice and quick as well.
Yes.
So our midweek is letting go of all my resentment. Got it. I'm feeling your cards. I'm hearing you. Oh, wrong way. To the King of the Cups inverted. His heart is the thing, however that gets in his way. He loves who he loves. More than his war, more than his kingdom, and more than his family. He will twist your words to hurt you. He will find out what hurts you emotionally and pile them on top of you. He is moody and he is mean. Awesome.
Wow.
So that's a shitty bad card. Whatever.
Wow. So we're gonna be moody by the end of the week. Okay.
Well, that's every week.
Right. You're like, it's Friday, thank God.
Fine. Is it because we're not letting go of our resentment? Is that what it is?
Maybe. I don't know.
Fine. Alright, whatever. Well, let's see what topic we're gonna have while we're being moody and full of resentment and having all of our emotional abuse piled on top of us.
So we're gonna be a team about it.
Well, that's right. We are a team, Claire.
We're gonna be a team about
we'll
it.
be fucked by these cards together. It's fine.
I know, right? All right, here we go. It's the wheel of fate. Okay.
Give me some power cards. She's laughing.
Tarot.
I even said, give me some power cards. I don't really know why I said that. So we're doing tarot next week. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be fun.
Do I need to take that one off, I guess?
Probably.
Okay.
Cuckoo.
Cool beans. Tarot is the topic for next week.
So join us on Brunch and Judge next week. What? Okay.
Yes.
So
as we discuss tarot.
And determine whether or not the cards hate us.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Well, I guess until next time, you can find us on all the things, at all the places,
at Brunch and Judge.
And you can send us emails and more topics for our wheel and anything else you want us to know about and have to
brunchandjudge@gmail.com.
Amazing. So until next time, keep on brunching.
And keep on judging.
Bye.
Bye.
Brunch and Judge. Brunch and Judge. We brunch and judge everything and give you opinions that nobody asked for.